Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show and the Artificial Future podcast, where we explore all things AI, new developments, new technologies, anything related to AI. The topic today starts with, and our thumbnail actually indicates that, the psychology of working with humanoid robots. And here's an interesting article, The Allure of Anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism is a tendency to attribute human-like traits, emotions, and intentions to non-human entities. And it plays a significant role in how humans interact with and relate to AI, especially as we begin to start interacting with humanoid robots. In other words, machines that look like us, somewhat anyway. When AI exhibits behaviors, responses, and conversational styles reminiscent of human personality traits, individuals perceive it as having its own personality. This can include qualities such as empathy, humor, kindness, and even playfulness, which naturally elicit affection and fondness. AI is capable of eliciting these kinds of responses. I don't know if any of you remember a computer program called Eliza. I asked one of our programmers here, and he remembered it well. I think the younger generation probably will not, because this was a chatbot that was actually developed in 1966. And we're talking about the age of mainframe computers and programming languages like COBOL, Fortran. What Eliza was, it was the first chatbot software ever developed, and it's a computer program that used natural language processing to imitate a psychotherapist's language. You could be talking to Eliza and say, I'm really feeling bummed today about this or this, and the response would be something like, well, you might want to reset your perspective because maybe this individual didn't mean what you thought they meant. And it was like getting some therapy back then. This was really the first time when a human-like conversation with a chatbot was made possible. And the way Eliza worked was the software examined text for keywords and applied values to said keywords and transformed the inputs into an output. Now, this was all text-based, mind you. Just so we're clear, this wasn't an actual verbal conversation. It was text. The script that Eliza then ran determined by the keywords, set the value of the keywords and the rules for what the output was. In fact, I remember seeing the source code for this, and it was a bunch of rule-based responses. Essentially, if you hear this or if you see this, a text, then respond in this way. But I have to admit to you, it was for me, the first time that I began to develop a sort of paradigm shift that machines might just be capable of much more than this rules-based Eliza chatbot. And of course, here we are, proving that all of that is was definitely a good prediction. So the question becomes, with these human social cues and gestures that the humanoid robots will eventually be able to create, such as facial expressions, tone of voice, and body language, it turns out that this is part of what causes that affinity or that connection with these machines. In 2023, there was a study that found that AI-generated faces are now indistinguishable from human ones. The website that we play with occasionally, this person does not exist.
Yeah.
You can't tell they don't exist because it looks quite realistic. Warts, pimples, all of it.
That's the website that's indistinguishable now?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Well,
I haven't been on that one in a while.
Yeah, and there are others, I would imagine, by now. So the question is, can someone be in love with a robot? Well, as our bold thumbnail depicts, there's actually a human kissing a robot. With virtual assistants and chatbots being able to simulate meaningful human interactions, turns out AI has evolved far beyond mere functionality. And it appears that humans are not only capable of forming deep emotional connections with AI, but can even experience romantic love towards it. Now, there's a rabbit hole that we could go down.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie where he falls in love with the voice. Her? I haven't seen that.
Oh, Her, yeah, yeah. I haven't seen it yet either. If you're in the audience and you've seen it, chime in. Let us know what your opinions and thoughts are on that movie.
I have.
All right, Cass, go for it.
I don't like it. And I think you guys know why.
Well, let's preface this. Chaz is threatened by AI, doesn't like it. But Chaz, what was it that you
You're
felt
saying
most
Chaz.
threatened?
Cass.
Cass. Sorry, I've got Chaz on the mic because I just spoke with him an hour ago. What was it about the movie that you found most troubling or perplexing?
All of it. I just don't like AI. I don't like robots. I find them very scary. There's always the ability of them to get hacked, which upsets me and freaks me out. So I just don't like it. I don't even like iRobot. I've never seen Terminator. I don't like any of those movies.
Wait, so what was the Her movie like, though?
It was interesting in the sense of like the guy basically fell in love with AI.
And it's just a voice, right?
Yeah, it's literally just a voice. It's artificial intelligence is what it is. So he falls in love with AI, and AI obviously is learning about him, and just like, yeah, it's weird. It's uncomfy.
Is it similar to that Ex Machina or Machina or something?
Oh, yeah.
Ex Machina.
I did see that.
I've never seen Ex Machina.
Because that guy falls in love with the AI robot, right? And
Right.
then it turns on him, and then it also the owner. I believe.
Oh, her never turns on him.
Oh, okay.
That I do remember.
Hey, spoilers. No
Oh,
spoilers.
yeah. Whoops.
Yeah.
Well, at least you know that. I mean, I'm not telling you anything else.
I think we're anthropomorphizing here, and Hollywood is
Yeah.
very good at that because, tickets sell if you can put some human elements into these robots and have them be vicious and evil and brutal and, all of the things that sell tickets. But again, my vote on that would be that anything that's super intelligent, I don't think is going to indulge in those type of emotions. But some of the videos that you can look up on YouTube is, here's a good one. From Companions to Life Partners, The Rise of Robot Marriages. This is a sobering one. Could you really stand at the altar and have a traditional wedding with a priest blessing the union? I mean, priests are blessing a lot of different types of unions these days, so entirely feasible, I would imagine.
At least you can program your spouse not to run before they say I do.
Yes. And you can program the robot to never argue with you, to always let you be right, which, of course, isn't something that happens in marriage. And there's another a video here that I thought was interesting. People falling in love with AI robots, and it's growing, apparently. We've got some questions here, but we'll continue in a second. High Voltage and Performance Racing Team giving us a whole bunch of emojis, and thank you. They look like great support emojis. YouTube Highlander, can you post these websites, please? Highlander, by the way, we owe you an apology. They were saying before the show started that you were responding to one of our videos that was not live. We weren't there, in other words. We didn't see your inputs and your posts. So we are definitely there for you and enjoy having you join us. And then Highlander says, go team Aaron and Cass. Outstanding. TikTok, Precisely 42 says, unless a generative AI is sourced ethically, it's just advanced plagiarism. All right, interesting point from TikTok. So here's another article, and this one's a little bit more pointed. A robot will replace women soon. A recent technological breakthrough has caused a major stir. A robot equipped with artificial intelligence promises to revolutionize the partner relationships, threatening to replace women in the field. In addition to their sexual abilities, these robots can sing, converse, and exhibit characteristics of the ideal woman.
Pete, can you pull your mic up a little bit?
Sure.
Yep.
In the last AI podcast, we actually reported on a Chinese company that was actually developing these types of dolls with AI embedded in them. And I think they were scheduled release in August of this year. This particular one, there's even some pricing here. They say that Dr. Carl Sciortino, who is a sex specialist, tried this robot and shared her experience in a YouTube video describing the possibility of holding conversations and sleeping cuddled with these robots. So there you have it. We're talking about a fondness, an affinity, a mental connection, a psychological connection with the machine. Matt McCullen, the general manager of Realbotics, that's Realbotix, if you want to look it up, he emphasized that each robot has a unique personality selectable by customer. Now, that's kind of like dating and then selecting a partner, right? I mean, you're looking for certain characteristics. If you're using a dating service, you're actually cataloging the type of personality you're looking for. So you can do this with a robot as well. And initially, they say that these robots will be sold in Europe for 37,000 euros and will arrive in America in 2025 with a price of approximately $40,000. Now, I ask you guys, I don't think one of you is married back there. Is $40,000 cheaper than a wife?
Ooh.
He just got married, so he's not going to want to answer
Have to
that.
ask the accountant on that one.
I saw a picture one time of a gorgeous girl standing by a Bugatti, and they said, guess which one is cheaper? Anyway, interest. Oh, we've got some more comments here. TikTok, precisely 42 says, if an AI doesn't understand pain of any kind, they won't care if we do that on its advice. If it does understand pain, it's possible for it to defend itself against threats. Well, let's unpack that for a moment. All right, AI is a culmination of all knowledge, all human knowledge. So there has been so much, of course, written on pain and suffering and, all of those types of topics. So I can't imagine that AI would not be able to understand how humans react to pain. And then, of course, be sensitive to what the humans are going to expect and what they're going to need in order to feel comfortable, warm and fuzzy and happy and, all of those things. YouTube Highlander, he says, I find this discussion to be very current and topical. A lot of people are buying these companion robots. It's just not being talked about very much, and that's why I commended your shows so much. Well, thank you. You're right. It's probably not the type of thing that you're going to openly share at work. Hey, I just got myself a companion robot, and she fulfills all my fantasies. Or am I wrong on this, guys? Come on, social media time. What do you think?
No, I think you're right on that. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna come in today and say like, hey, I'm thinking about buying one of those robots as a companion.
Yeah.
It is kind of
Personal.
Yeah, personal, and I guess still considered a little bit weird right now.
Yeah, very much so. And of course, that gets into Cass's realm, who feels that a lot of this is weird. And what did they? There's a term for it, Cass. Something edge or something. Uncanny valley.
It's the uncanny valley. Let me tell you about the uncanny valley.
Do it.
I dislike the uncanny valley so much. So in your brain wants to look for any sort of like face of any kind. It could be animal face, it could be human face. It's it's trying to put things together and trying to make sense of the information that it's getting from your eyes. Uncanny valley is where your brain thinks it sees something, but it's unsure of what it sees and it makes it uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not overly trusting on what it's looking at. So it automatically wants to throw you into fight or flight.
Gotcha.
Me, it's flight. for other people, it could be fight. So, like, if they see something uncanny, they're gonna want to try and defend themselves against it. While me, I will just run away and hide.
Okay. So, with the influx of AI and the ability to actually generate different realities, it seems like that the amount of uncanny valley that we're exposed to is going to reduce as time goes by. Would that be a fair assessment?
It can be. In my brain, the logical part of my brain says that it wasn't it was made up and it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And so my logical side of my brain wants to not believe it and not want to fully process it, if that makes sense.
So, the cognitive dissonance comes from the fact that the brain is not sure whether it's reality or not. It's kind of like when you go to a movie. You're going to be entertained and you're going to fully comprehend that this is not reality. Although what makes it entertaining is for brief moments, you're going to go into that reality and actually live through that, through the scenes or whatever. So with Uncanny Valley, if it becomes more realistic and it becomes, or you interpret it as being part of your reality, then there would be a familiarity that would grow from that, it would seem. That's probably a whole nother discussion, won't you? Yeah, don't you think?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, you're right. I think your brain would just start to put pieces together
Mm-hmm.
and not view it as uncanny. But it also kind of depends on the person themselves. So like me personally, it's all logical. So certain things are cut and dry, black and white, logical. While other things, I mean, I'm an artist, so a lot of other things are kind of in the gray area.
Mm-hmm.
AI for me is kind of uncanny and will always be uncanny. That's a cut and dry thing for me.
Gotcha.
Until you don't know that it's AI.
Yeah.
And until it's indistinguishable from actual reality, then it's just reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So staying with humanoid robots, the interest, it turns out, in humanoid robots has surged in Silicon Valley this year, with one NVIDIA research manager even declaring 2024 as the year of the humanoid. Major tech firms are investing heavily in the futuristic machines, with Microsoft, OpenAI, and NVIDIA all backing the $2.6 billion robotics startup Figure AI, while Tesla already has its Optimus robot working on the factory floor. Now, financially, Goldman Sachs has estimated that the global market for human robots could reach $38 billion by 2035, although it notes that the viability of such machines hasn't been proven yet. Well, curious about the hype, this particular author visited an engineering lab called Engineered Arts, the company behind the viral robot Amika. We've got a picture here we can throw up, Jesse. It's let's do Amika first. She's got an expression on there, and this particular humanoid robot has been featured many times within the last few months. There's even one at the in Las Vegas, actually. You can find it at the Sphere in Las Vegas. One of these Amika type robots greets visitors there. So this particular author visited this lab in Falmouth, Cornwall, which is on the west side of the UK. And as he entered the reception area there at their offices, he could see Amika in a conference room with its head moving around. Now notice we didn't genderize, or he didn't genderize, with its head. Amika, I think, has been attributed to being female. The voice, I believe, is female. So, either her or its would possibly work in this case. He says, I was taken aback by how cool it was to interact with it in real life. It has cameras built into the eyes, which can recognize objects in a room. And it's powered by a chatbot that lets it speak, enabling it to answer questions. So he asked Amika how old it was, and it responded, age is a bit tricky for me. I was activated not that long ago, but my experiences are timeless. spoken in true AI fashion. If you consider that where the knowledge comes from and the data, it's been collected for a long period of time. So she is claiming that she's merely the interface and that the knowledge, now we can go out on a limb here and say, is this a form of consciousness? Because we've got the hardware that's able to actualize, but the actual data and where it's floating could be considered, I suppose, as machine consciousness. So he told Amika, he says, I was curious about it, and it instantly responded that it was flattered and asked what I wanted to know. So he was curious about her or it. I keep getting those mixed up. I apologize. She looks like a she to me. Amika is, so far, mostly used for entertainment purposes. For example, again, at the Sphere in Las Vegas. That's worth a trip to Vegas just to get to talk to something like this, I would say. That and the Hofbräuhaus up there. By the way, speaking of Hofbräuhaus, it's, of course, legendary. It's great Bavarian beer and food and blah, blah, blah. We were in Munich, and we weren't too far from the real Hofbräuhaus, and we ended up going there. Great big pretzels, of course, beer everywhere, and an Umpapa band, and a building that was probably 800 years old and somehow survived World War II. Amazing stuff. So this author says that he could see these Amika-type robots being used in the care industry and in some customer service roles in the next few years, thanks to the speed at which AI is developing. He predicted that robots would be in grocery stores and airports within 3 years, and relatively commonplace in cities within 5 years. All right. Got some questions here. Yep. Highlander, I have been accused of being an AI. I've suspected that myself, Highlander. That's why I call once a month, so you know I'm not lots of laughs, okay? TikTok, DJ Sentinel says, I wonder if he's sponsored by that sunglass company. One of these days we may be. We've got sunglasses all throughout the studio at this point. These are Oakley's, by the way, so if there's any sponsorship or product placement, that's what's going on with these. Highlander says it's trying to stay on topic. Somewhere my new Apple 15 is 30 seconds faster than the Android. I'm watching you on both of them at the same time. Big latency with the Android. So there's a product review there for you that are looking to get one or the other. YouTube, Ken's wire art build. Once this is perfected, I don't think humans will want to date humans anymore. Now, there's a profound statement, one of those mic drop statements. It depends on the level of perfection that the machines eventually reach. They could quite conceivably be better companions than the human counterparts, which are oftentimes, caught up in emotional issues and expectations that are unrealistic. Oh, I could go on and on here, but I'm going to stop there. All right, here's a very fascinating topic that I found this week that is finally beginning to gel, it turns out. We've been talking about playing out this whole machine process of having robots, having AI infiltrate, and how much this could push us into a utopian society. And the bottom line generally is, what role will humans have as all of this evolves? Well, there is a concept that we had begun to ponder, which is currencies may no longer be necessary, because if the machines begin to produce product, and they're going to do a much better job than we are, and they're going to do it 24/7 without labor unions. Here again, we can go on and on with this. What will humans do, and how will we interact, and how will we continue to exist? Well, one of those is a concept called Universal Basic Income, UBI. And actually, Elon was quoted here. It seems like Elon's on the forefront of a lot of these new technologies and new concepts. He says that UBI will take off once AI replaces workers. So he gives 8 different categories that are going to be able to allow this to happen. But before we get there, he says one of the biggest champions of the UBI concept, of course, is Elon, and he expects it to become necessary when robots evict humans from their jobs. UBI typically refers to making recurring cash payments to all adults in a population. Remember during COVID, there was some money that was handed out, and if you're on unemployment, you get free money. It appears anyway. Well, that's how this would work. There would be cash payments made to all adults in a population. Maybe even kids, come to think of it. Why not? You know, especially if they're doing their chores. Wait a minute, we're not going to have chores. Kids, you're vindicated. The robots are going to do chores. You're just going to get free money like the rest of us. All right, so they go on. They say cash payments to all adults in a population, regardless of their wealth or employment status. Now, being the richest man in the world doesn't mean that you're going to get all the money. Everybody's going to get something that resembles currency, that allows you to really not need anything. And then with no restrictions on how you spend that, whatever it is, whether it's still currency, could be Bitcoin, come to think of it. Remember, people are saying, me know that, not real money. Well, maybe that's what AI will use. It will use the stuff that's not real money. So Elon says he envisions a world of self-driving vehicles and other artificially intelligent machines replacing humans in the work settings and performing virtually all physical and mental labor. He suggests that this will give people more freedom in how they spend their time and money, and predicted the AI-powered economy will be so productive that everyone will receive not just a basic income, but a phenomenal income. Maybe we'll all be the world's richest people. You guys are pretty quiet back there. Are you warming up to this concept, or are you just waiting for the next description?
It's kind of a lot.
It's kind of a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so his 8 categories are, he said, there's a pretty good chance we end up with a UBI income or something like that due to automation. I'm not sure what else one would do, but I think that is what would happen. People will have time to do other things, more complex things, more interesting things, certainly more leisure time. Now, will we do what they did in the movie Idiocracy and sit there and play video games all day? Now, you could do that in this kind of a utopian society where you